The United States will grant Ukraine the right to manufacture Patriots. At the same time, Kyiv is preparing for its own production of SCALP cruise missiles. Meanwhile, drones have attacked Moscow. The main news that could influence the course of the war is coming up now on Focus News. One of the main events was the conversation between Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Donald Trump. Afterwards, the US president stated that Washington is ready to help Ukraine establish its own production of Patriot systems and transfer the necessary technologies. According to Trump, Ukrainian enterprises will be able to master their production quickly. Release. In addition, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that the United States will support Ukraine in strikes on Russian territories if it helps bring the war to a quicker end.
We need to discuss the details regarding the potential transfer of the license for the production of tanks. They had complained about this before. We haven't chosen something yet, but I think we'll find it. We know how. Many countries are not capable of doing this. Well, I'm sure you know exactly who I mean. But these particular individuals that we were discussing earlier are very resourceful. I think that we will probably have a chance to talk later today. At least that is what a little bird told me recently. Yes, it certainly seems to me that we were specifically talking about Ukraine's military capabilities. Very dynamic and significant changes are happening right now in the ongoing war. Well, and now it's much harder for the Russians to defend their airspace. Yes, indeed, this is a significant escalation of the conflict, but it's an escalation that could very well ultimately pave the way for the end of the war.
At the same time, Donald Trump allowed for the possibility of his visit to Kyiv and stated that Vladimir Putin allegedly wants to end the war as soon as possible. And once again, he outlined his own vision of what the conditions for future peace might be.
Honestly, I would like the war to end much sooner, but actually, I like it. It seems to me that the people are wonderful. Of course, it would certainly be a very good idea to make a trip to visit the historic city of Kyiv before any further tragic destruction and damage happens to the area. I've spoken with him a lot. Well, maybe less. I have personally had a conversation with President Putin, and I will tell you right now, he truly wants to bring a definitive conclusion to the war, and many people simply do not believe that to be true. Well, we will be actively collaborating and working on certain security guarantees. Russia is a nation that truly respects us. I think we just need to negotiate and finalize the right kind of deal. And Europe will not simply stand by idly and watch. We will propose some kind of security packages if they actually manage to reach such a deal when all is said and done. I believe that Russia will only be more than glad to see it happen.
Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to rely not only on the support of its allies, but also on development of its own defense industrial complex. One of the key directions is the production of long-range weaponry. There has been information that the state is preparing to launch its own production of SCALP cruise missiles.
I can say that during our president's visit to France, there was a very good conversation with Macron regarding the potential opportunity of sharing this with others, licenses for SCALP missiles to our country. Right now, discussions with the government and the company on this matter are ongoing. All the details are being clarified. There really is progress.
According to the minister, the discussions are now taking place not only at the diplomatic level, but also directly with the manufacturer, the European consortium MBDA. The company, together with the French government, is coordinating the technical details. What exactly might missile production outside of France look like? Despite the progress, Fedorov immediately outlined the main obstacles. This is not about a political decision, but rather about complex legal and industrial progress.
It's a complicated process, especially when it comes to intellectual property, the actual launch of production, and so on. There is a certain amount of bureaucracy involved in this.
The Wings and the SCALP missile are not just one factory and not just one component. There are dozens of components, the rights to which belong to different contractors, and the final assembly is still tied to a specific MBDA production line in France. Transferring the license for such a weapon means reaching an agreement not only with the French government, but also with the company itself, about which specific components Ukraine will be able to produce on its own territory and which it will not. That is why the minister is cautious in his wording. Negotiations are ongoing, there is progress, but there are still no specific deadlines or guarantees.
New opportunities for the Ukrainian defense industry are emerging against the backdrop of regular strikes on military facilities deep inside Russia. Another confirmation of this was the large-scale drone attack on Moscow.
A very powerful explosion, the windows just shook. We just jumped up and immediately ran to the children. God, it's so frightening. What happened that night was the largest drone attack on Moscow and the Moscow region in all the years of the full-scale war. More than 100 drones were flying toward the Russian capital at the same time, and they made it. And here we need to pause on one important detail, because Moscow is not just a city. From the perspective of air defense, it's a fortress. There are 130 anti-aircraft system positions deployed around it. 2 dense rings of air defense surround the city, plus additional positions inside. For years, Russia claimed that Moscow was impenetrable. Impossible, unreal. Forget it. The distance from the Ukrainian border is over 500 kilometers, through all these rings, systems, and positions.
I'm in such shock. Can't even...
Now let's get to specifics. For the first time since the war began, the Moscow oil refinery was hit, a facility that processes 12 million tons of oil per year and supplies the Moscow region with gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Moscow Mayor Sobyanin wrote on Telegram this morning that the plant's technological equipment was not damaged. It's just that 12 people were injured near the checkpoint, just that 3 buildings were damaged, but the plant itself is intact. Trust Sobyanin. Along with the refinery, for the first time, the Solnekhnogorsk oil depot in the village of Durikino was also hit. Gasoline and diesel are stored and pumped there. The fire lasted for a long time. The Volodymyr oil pumping station was also hit. In other words, the strike hit the entire oil logistics chain of the region, from processing to delivery.
That's all from me. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. See you next time, we'll talk again.